blue envelope murder. Hello everyone and welcome back to UK Homicide. If you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe, like, and share to stay updated on important cases. Today's case is the murder of Alistair Wilson. This is one of Scotland's most enduring, unsolved cases, full of strange and unsettling details. So let's take an in-depth look into the blue envelope murder. On November 28, 2004, Alistair, a 30-year-old banker from Nairn, a coastal town in the Scottish Highlands, was shot dead on his doorstep. He had spent that weekend with his wife Veronica, his children and family friends. When the doorbell rang, he was reading their boys a bedtime story. Veronica answered the door to a clean-shaven man aged 35 to 40. He was described as stocky and wearing a baseball hat and a dark blue jacket. He asked to speak to Alistair Wilson by name. Veronica went up to the boy's room and told her husband. He expressed surprise that someone had come to the door at 7 p.m. on a Sunday, but went downstairs, leaving Veronica to take over the bedtime reading. After a short discussion with the man, Alistair returned to the room carrying a small blue envelope with the name Paul written on the front. He was bewildered by the name that was not his and why it had to be handed to him specifically. Disconcertingly, there was nothing in the envelope. Veronica reiterated to Alistair that the man definitely asked for him by name. She also added that there was no sense of danger at that point, as Alistair had closed the front door. She said, "It wasn't threatening. It was just very unusual, but there was no fear, otherwise I wouldn't have let him go back downstairs. He didn't need to go back." She suggested to Alistair that they get the boys down for the night and then try to figure out what was happening. But Alistair chose to go back downstairs to see if the man was still there. He wanted to understand why he was handed an empty envelope with someone else's name on it. Minutes later, he had been shot twice in the head and once in the chest. Veronica found her husband covered in blood. She saw the killer leave the scene without the envelope, although it was never found. The 30-year-old banker died an hour later at Regmore Hospital in Inverness. Veronica and their children were unharmed, but she was obviously devastated by the loss of Alistair. She was traumatized by the fact that she had been part of the entire event. She told police that Alistair didn't seem to recognize the man, leading to further mystery about the identity and motive of the killer. 10 days after the murder, an antique pistol, a 1920s Heinel Schmeisser semi-automatic, was recovered from a drain in Nairn's Seabank Road, around half a mile away from the Wilson family home. Forensic tests confirmed it was the weapon that was used in the shooting, but there was no usable DNA. It is believed the weapon was brought to the UK after the Second World War as a souvenir. But the ammunition used in the murder was from the 1980s or 1990s. This type of gun is rarely found in the UK. Only 13 have been recovered since 2008. Why was the envelope blue? The blue envelope's significance is still unclear, but several theories exist. 1. Symbolic or personal message. The blue envelope may have been deliberately chosen to convey a personal or symbolic message. Blue is sometimes associated with calmness, trust, or sadness, so the color might have been intended to evoke a particular emotion or signify a deeper connection to the victim or the killer's intentions. 2. A distinctive choice. Could the killer have used this envelope because it was distinctive, easily identifiable, and unusual? The color choice could have made it stand out among everyday mail. Given the precise nature of the crime, this would support the theory that it was meant to catch Alistair's attention. Conversely, no definitive evidence has ever emerged to confirm the color had a symbolic meaning. 3. Anonymity or code. Was the blue envelope used as a code or method to maintain anonymity? Could it have been a deliberate part of a coded message, possibly signaling a group affiliation or hidden meaning understood only by the perpetrator or the target? In cases of cryptic or mysterious crimes, such as this one, individuals sometimes use subtle clues to convey information, whether personal or related to a specific agenda. 4. A convenient or accessible envelope. This is the less exciting theory. The killer may have used a blue envelope simply because it was readily available at the time, without any more profound significance or interpretation. But people have argued this seems unlikely given the calculated nature of the murder. While the blue envelope is an unusual detail, its color remains unexplained. What do you think? Initial investigation and early leads. 1. The killer's description. Witnesses described the suspect as a clean-shaven man aged 35 to 40. He was said to be stocky and wearing a baseball hat and a dark blue jacket. His manner seemed calm and deliberate, suggesting premeditation. 2. No immediate motive. The initial investigation focused on determining a motive. The idea that Alistair might have been the victim of a botched robbery was considered early on. Still, there were no signs of forced entry into his house, and no property was missing. Alistair's wife, Veronica, said that mistaken identity was the only thing that made sense to her, as he had the choice not to go back down and question the name on the envelope. It appears he didn't know what it meant or what he was supposed to do with it. 3. Financial links. Since Alistair was a banker, investigators speculated that the crime could relate to his work. Was he meant to put money or something else in the envelope? Was someone blackmailing him to launder money through his role at the bank? Or had he borrowed money from moneylenders? In total, 14,000 people were interviewed and 3,500 statements were made. The forensic investigation was extensive but ultimately did not lead to any breakthroughs. The key areas examined were the crime scene, blue envelope, CCTV, pathology and autopsy, trace evidence, and event reconstruction, and finally, the 1920s antique semi-automatic pistol. Let's look at each of these in more detail. The crime scene surfaces were swabbed for potential DNA traces, saliva, or fingerprints. Police also examined the ballistic evidence. 3 shots were fired, and forensic experts analyzed the shell casings and ballistic traces. 10 days after the murder, an antique pistol was recovered from around half a mile away from the Wilson family home. Analysis of the blue envelope. The envelope was forensically tested for trace evidence, but no valuable fingerprints or DNA was found. Handwriting analysis to ascertain the writer's background or even their psychological state did not generate any leads. CCTV footage review. CCTV footage from around the area in Nairn was reviewed. However, this did not reveal any clear evidence or provide an image of the killer. Police also examined traffic and neighborhood cameras, which produced no significant results either. Pathology and autopsy. An autopsy confirmed that Alistair died from multiple gunshot wounds, specifically 2 shots to the head and 1 to the chest. The forensic pathologists also provided evidence that Alistair likely did not see this coming, as there were no signs of struggle. Search for trace evidence. In addition to the envelope, Alistair's home was searched for any other trace evidence, such as hair fibers, foreign particles, or blood splatters. Alistair's vehicle was also examined for anything connected to the killer or any signs that Alistair had been followed. Both searches drew a blank. The gun. It was a Schmeisser, a 1920s German handgun known as a pocket pistol because of its small size. Police revealed that another Schmeisser, an exact replica of the murder weapon, was handed to them in 2016 following a house clearance in Nairn. The fact that 2 were in Nairn definitely appears to be significant. This significance is compounded by the gun's rarity in the UK. Only 13 of these guns have been recovered here since 2008. Although forensic analysis identified it as the murder weapon, tests failed to extract any usable DNA. Reconstruction of events. Experts conducted a reconstruction of the shooting based on the trajectory of the bullets and the placement of shell casings. They hoped that someone who saw something unusual or suspicious that night might have their memory jogged and come forward with new information. In 2005, there was an early case reassessment considering the motives of personal grudges, business disputes, and random killing. Then, in 2015, the Scottish Crime Agency reopened the investigation, recognizing that the case remained cold. Investigators attempted to link the murder to financial crimes or organized crime by reviewing Alistair's professional life and any possible links to criminal entities. They examined financial records and any nefarious connections he might have had, but again, no evidence was found connecting him to crime syndicates. The original trace DNA found from the crime scene was reanalyzed, reviewing any evidence that may have been overlooked initially. However, no new leads emerged, even with the advancements in forensic technology, such as more sophisticated DNA analysis and forensic genealogy. A year later, in 2016, Police Scotland made a public statement, emphasizing that the murder remained a top priority. They called on the public for any new information, appealing to people who might have witnessed anything suspicious in the area around the time of the murder. The police deliberately tried to focus on the blue envelope as the key to unlocking the mystery, again asking why the envelope was addressed to Paul and why the gunman asked for Alistair specifically.
Is the best match, the best likeness of the envelope that was handed to Alistair Wilson on the 28th of November 2004, shortly before he was shot. And I need to know if there's any ideas as to why this envelope may have contained nothing, whether Paul's a significant individual or whether it's a distraction, handing Alistair that envelope now.
On the 17th anniversary of the murder in 2021, Police Scotland made another public appeal, reiterating the importance of the blue envelope. A reported sighting of two men on Nairn's East Beach a month before the murder was reported in 2022.
A witness has come forward saying that approximately a month before Alistair was shot, they were on East Beach walking in the morning, and they noticed two males, one aged about 20 and a second male aged between 40 or 60 years of age, on the beach, and the younger of the two men appeared to be holding what the witness thought was a handgun and aiming it into the sea. Could be father and son or connected, and obviously in this area we're near to the caravan site, so they may well not have been local to the area, but it would appeal to any persons that were visiting the area that may have seen people acting suspiciously on the beach with what an item might have looked like a handgun, or indeed anybody that had been carrying out some sort of activity with some sort of handgun in the beach to come forward and provide information to us.
We have already reviewed the numerous theories and speculations surrounding this case, so let's examine the prominent ones in greater detail. The first theory was a robbery gone wrong, with the killer intending to steal from Alistair, but resorting to violence when things went awry. Some believe this is further supported by his banking job wealth. However, there were no signs of forced entry or an attempted burglary, and the killer asked for him by name. The second theory concerns the mysterious blue envelope addressed to Paul. It's speculated that it could have been a personal message. Why did Alistair accept the envelope initially, and did he know the killer would still be at the door when he returned? Theory 3 suggests that Alistair's profession as a banker might have led to his murder. Could he have been involved in a financial deal gone wrong or unethical activity? Was he being blackmailed? His job would definitely have exposed him to individuals with financial motives. The fourth theory is that Alistair was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the murder was a random act of violence. But like the botched robbery theory, the killer's actions appeared calm and calculated, indicating the crime was personal or motivated by more than just random violence. And the gunman asked for him by name. Theory 5. Mistaken identity is the one Veronica thinks is most likely. The gunman had no way of knowing that Alistair would return to the door a second time, and it was not his name on the envelope. So she surmises he didn't know what it meant or what he was supposed to do with it. But this doesn't explain being asked for by his full name. The sixth theory speculated that the murder was related to a love affair, jealousy, and rivalry involving Alistair or someone close to him. Alistair's wife, his colleagues, and close associates have been considered potential connections to a personal motive, but with no success. The final theory suggested Alistair's murder lay within a planning dispute over decking at the Havelock Hotel in Nairn. He had objected to a retrospective planning permission, which he argued would increase noise and litter in the family's home. Up until 2022, the police thought that this motive was, quote, significant. Alistair's murder remains one of Scotland's most unsettling, unsolved crimes. Despite multiple investigations, the case has not been closed and there have been no arrests. The public execution-style shooting, the mysterious envelope addressed to Paul, and the fact that it was witnessed by his family makes it all the more chilling. The Alistair family has continued to push for answers. Alistair's widow, Veronica, and his son, Andrew, have spoken publicly about the devastating impact of the crime on her family and how little closure they have received.
Happen. And he's a murderer. You know, it's who's to know? He's not going to do it again, or if he has done it again, or anything like that. But for us as a family, yeah, we need to know why. This is just so senseless. You know, Alistair's and for his two boys, 2 and 4, to be left without a dad. That can't be repaired, but a who and why would make such a difference to us being able to move on.
The case has captured the imagination of the public, with many still hoping that one day the truth behind Alistair's death will be revealed. But there's an eerie sense that the killer's identity and motive might remain elusive forever. What do you think the motive for Alistair's murder was? Robbery, personal message, financial dealing, random violence, love interest, planning permission dispute, or something else? What do you think the significance of the blue envelope was, and who do you think Paul was? Thank you for watching and listening to the Blue Envelope Murder. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more cases from UK Homicide. Take care, stay safe, and look out for each other. Until next time.